Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Colts Corner podcast. My name is Matthew Gold, here with fellow analysts Doug Latuca and Ben Dixon. Now, Ben, both girls and boys basketball teams are in the early portion of the season. How are they doing?
Both teams have been out to an outstanding start. The boys are 4-0, including wins over Lindenhurst, Millennium, Smithtown West, and Wyandanch. They are winning by an average margin of 17 points. And with the girls, they're 6-0 with their most recent win coming over rival Hills East.
Hills West is off to a hot start in basketball. Now let's get into the NFL. We have games all this week. Let's start with the Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. Giants are -2.5. I got to go with the Giants. They're red hot. They're trying to make a playoff push, and Philadelphia sort of fell off. Ben Dixon, what do you got on the Miami-Buffalo game?
Buffalo is playing for their coach's job, but Miami has been surging lately. They are in a playoff position. I got Miami.
Next matchup we have is Atlanta at Carolina. Carolina coming off of an impressive win against Washington, one that they needed. However, Atlanta is just too hot. They just keep rolling with Devontae Freeman. Matt Ryan is playing as an elite quarterback. I got to go with Atlanta at -2.5.
Talk about Washington, who laid a stinker last night in a loss to the Carolina Panthers. They are -3 on the road in Chicago. I still got to go with Washington. They played well this season. They still have a chance for the playoffs, although they don't control their own destiny, but they still have a shot, and they got to win out.
San Diego, Cleveland. Many people keeping their eye on this one. The Browns are 0-14, 2 games away from an 0-16 season. No team wants to go 0-16. Browns are at home. I got them outright.
Wow.
Next game, we got Minnesota at Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is finally turning it up at the second half of this season, coming off of some bad performances. Sam Bradford not playing well at all at Green Bay. Got to go with Green Bay, -6.5.
Tennessee and Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Jacksonville just fired their head coach, Gus Bradley, and they're looking for a new one. I do not see Jacksonville winning this game. Their quarterback play has just not been good enough. Their defense has given up a lot of points. I see Tennessee beating Jacksonville by more than 4.5 points.
Talk about how things changed for the green and white in a year. Last year, the Jets-New England game in Week 16 had many playoff implications, and now Jets are 16.5-point underdogs. I think New England blows them out of the water.
Very disappointing for the Jets season this year. All right, now we have Indianapolis at Oakland. Oakland playing very well on the solid play of Derek Carr. However, he does have a finger injury, which has cost him to only run out of the shotgun formation. That makes things easy for a defense to stop. I'm going to go with the Colts at +3.5.
Wow. Next, we got Tampa and New Orleans. In New Orleans, Tampa playing really well with Jameis Winston in quarterback, and New Orleans has just not been that impressive, although Brandon Cooks has really dominated after being held out of the offense over the last few weeks. I still see Tampa Bay coming out with the win. They're +3 points on the road against New Orleans. I got Tampa.
All right, San Francisco, Los Angeles, the matchup everyone has been waiting for. The Rams, 3.5-point favorites at home. Jared Goff has looked abysmal, and I think the Niners get the win on the road here.
Next, we have a key division matchup for Seattle's playoff hopes, Arizona at Seattle. After coming off of a shootout against New Orleans, both scoring in the 40s, I got Seattle at -8.
Next, we got Cincinnati and Houston. Houston just benching their $72 million man, Brock Osweiler, and putting in Tom Savage, who is 23 for 36 for 260 yards in his replacement for Osweiler. And I have Houston -1 at home. I don't think Cincinnati's been good. They're coming off a division loss, losing a few players to injury. I have Houston.
Fun fact, Tom Savage, Rutgers alum. Baltimore, Pittsburgh have one of the 2 games on the Sunday, Christmas Day slate. Pittsburgh, 4.5 favorites at home. They've been rolling with Big Ben, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown on a 5-game winning streak. I got Pittsburgh. Don't think they lose again in the regular season.
Big playoff implications there.
Next, we also go on Christmas Day to another big game with AFC playoff implications. Denver at Kansas City, battle of the defenses. Simeon has not been playing well at all coming off his injury. Kansas City's -4 at home. Their defense is playing way too low. Tyreek Hill has emerged as a must-start fantasy starter, especially for your fantasy football playoff championships. I got to go with KC at -4.
And the Monday night game, Detroit and Dallas. Dallas -7 points at home. Detroit has played extremely well. They've been in every game. I do not see them not covering the 7 points. I see them maybe losing by 3, maybe even winning the game outright. I got Detroit +7 points.
Definitely looks to be like a close game there.
Now, from the pros to the college football playoffs. Ben, what do you got?
Well, I mean, the 1 versus 4 matchup, the afternoon matchup on New Year's Eve, Alabama-Washington. Washington just snuck into the playoff after a win over Colorado in the Pac-12 championship. Many think USC was the best team in the Pac-12, but couldn't have gotten in with 3 losses. Alabama's been clearly the best team in the nation. No one has even come close. Alabama big. In the nightcap, Ohio State, Clemson. That one's going to be a classic. JT Barrett and Ohio State prevail in double OT. And with the bowl games coming, a few happened Saturday, 1 happened yesterday, and tonight we got the Boca Raton Bowl, Memphis, Western Kentucky. And now these star players, Christian McCaffrey sitting at the Sun Bowl for Stanford, and Leonard Fournette sitting at the Citrus Bowl for LSU to prepare for the draft. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think it's fair to the teammates, fair to the fans, or is it necessary? Is it?
I don't really know here. If I were a player, I would want to play, but I get where they're coming from. They don't want to get injured. They would like to stay healthy for the draft, and it's really up to them. I would not really want to abandon my teammates like that after a good year in college and trying to get a good draft position. I mean, your teammates really push you and motivate you to become excellent and to earn that draft position.
And Matt, what do you feel on this?
I got to go on the side of the players here. You work so hard for the draft to be draft eligible and only to have it ruined by injury, ruin your draft stock. I mean, the only way I could see if they would want to play in bowl games is if they were receiving compensation, which they're really not. They're only getting stuff from the sponsors. They're not getting any form of monetary value or anything like that they will get in the NFL. And the higher you get drafted, the more money you make. So I think it makes perfect sense if you want to sit out. I could see if you're playing for a national championship, then it would be unacceptable. I think every college athlete would play for a national championship. But if it's only in a bowl game, I could completely see where they're coming from.
Interestingly enough, the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys came out and said that he would do anything to play for Ohio State again in another game with his brothers, his teammates, obviously, and,
Just one more time to show up with the fan base. Thank you for tuning in to the first edition of the Colts Corner podcast. We'll see you back here in 2017. I'm signing off. I'm Ben Dixon.
I'm Doug Latuca.
Matt Gold.
Thank you for joining us.